What attracted you to this job, and what challenges do you feel like you face?
Well, I think the thing that attracted to us, as I said, was we just felt called to be here. I mean, it's a world-class university. I knew Mac was here. I love the people that I met. But I think at the end of the day, it was an opportunity for me to coach football and still and outwardly embrace my faith as well. And I think that there's no greater calling for me right now than to do that. In terms of challenges, I kind of just got my boots on the ground. I have a lot to figure out. I have to figure out sort of the roster. There's some guys gone, that are numbers down a little bit. So I have to really get into the process of recruiting and trying to make sure that we are at full strength roster wise. So, but probably have a little bit better answer to some of those things in maybe a week or so.
Troy?
Coach, at Temple, you guys took guys that were, 1, 2, 3-star recruits and really developed them into great players. How does that translate to a Power 5 conference and what you expect to have to do here at Baylor?
Well, I think one of two things. Number one, we developed players because of the way we practiced and competed. I'm proud to say this. I mean, I've had NFL coaches, I've had NFL GMs say to me, Matt, just don't change the way you practice if you go there, and you'll be really, really successful. And they're not saying anything about, I don't know how we practiced before, but we practiced in a way at Temple, which I kind of learned from Pete Carroll at USC, where everything matters. You compete in everything. And to me, when you do that, iron sharpens iron, you get better and better and better, as opposed to, maybe just some other ways that some people across the country are doing it. So in terms of the 1- and 2-star piece, we're going to trust our own evaluations. I mean, we're going to intimately get to know all the players that we recruit and just make a decision based upon, is this a guy that can develop into one of those pro guys?
Bryce Cherry?
Matt, how have you handled player discipline issues in the past?
So I've always handled it with on a sort of a case-by-case basis. I've tried to do what I felt was right within certain parameters, right? So, there were some sort of non-negotiable things, but at the end of the day, I mean, we just try to deal with each kid based upon the real reality of what we knew about each thing that happened. So we handled it that way.
Suzanne?
Hey, Matt. Excuse me. The Big 12 is known for its dynamic offenses, maybe not great defenses, but I know you're number 3 in the country in total defense. How do you plan to adapt the way you coach around the state of Texas athletes that are produced here and the way football is played here?
Well, the one thing and I've had a tremendous opportunity to start to watch Texas high school football. The one thing I know is it's physical. And so I think anytime you have players that are committed to being physical, you can play great offense and you can play great defense. We believe, and I believe, that you can do both. You can play great defense and you can still be dynamic on offense. I might have to change sort of my end of game mentality. I came from Coach Paterno and Coach Coughlin. Like, we'd get up on people, and I might be a little respectful of the score. So maybe to keep these guys happy, we'll try to score a few more touchdowns at the end of games. But we're going to seek to be potent on both sides of the ball.
Nick?
Coach, congratulations to you. You talked about hitting the ground running. What is your first order of business, I guess, as far as priority that you need to do when you get here, and I guess when you officially hit the ground running here?
Well, I think the first and most important piece is the players, right? I mean, these transitions are always hard, so I wanted to have a chance to address them and hopefully at some point meet with each guy one-on-one based upon their schedules. And then the second thing is really staff and recruiting. So I'm going to make sure I meet with the current staff. But really at the end of the day, I want to start hitting the road recruiting. And that started once I got the job on the phone and evaluations. But we only have a couple days left in this early recruiting period, really through Sunday. So we're going to try to maximize that, or I'm going to try to maximize that as best I can.
Jerry Hill?
Matt, you mentioned Coach Paterno. Who are some of your coaching mentors? Who did you learn from along the way?
Well, I'd say that one of the biggest impacts on me, other than Coach Paterno, would be Tom Coughlin. My time in the NFL was brief, but it was like a PhD in how to be a head coach. The thing about Coach Coughlin was he was never emotional with his decision making. He might be emotional towards the referees or might be emotional at the coaches in the locker room, but he was never emotional about his decision making. And then I loved the way he treated his players. He was unbelievably demanding. If you walked in a minute late, you were going to get fined. If you were a pound overweight, you were going to get fined. But at the end of the day, he had great relationships with the players. He spent a lot of time with them. And when I came back to college football, I said, that's exactly how I'm going to do it.
Jordan Smith?
Coach, congrats on the job. If you had a message, if you had a promise that you could give to the students of Baylor and the rest of Baylor Nation, what would that be?
If I had to give a promise to the students at Baylor, just what I said, that our entire mentality is to build a program that everyone can be proud of, both on the field, in the classroom, and in the community. And to me, that's a day-by-day process of investment. That's a day-by-day process of recognizing all the kids that are doing everything right. That's a day-by-day process of making sure that we build relationships. What I don't want is the football program over here and everybody else over here. The true experience of coming to college and coming to Baylor is making sure that everybody builds a relationship with everybody.
Way in the back.
Coach Rhule, you spent a lot of time talking about development of players. So I'm wondering what's going to change on day one when you hit the ground, and what is your role, and how can you address some of the failings of the program considering the last year?
Well, everything I'm going to do is moving forward. I don't really. I just when I met all the kids, I had to actually ask them their name. This is such a tremendous opportunity for me to have a great start and a great new relationship with all these guys. So everything I do is just moving forward and just what I talked about. And I think that's the only way I know how to build something is never to look back, but always to look forward.
Mac?
Coach, from an outsider's perspective, it seemed like maybe the campus is a little fractured. How do you go about bringing everybody together and getting them on the same page in light of what happened here the last year plus?
Well, I think at the end of the day for me, and it's hard for me because I don't know anything. I have to maybe defer to some of the other people. But what I do know is this: you do the things that you say you're going to do. You build relationships with people. You invest in the community. You invest in the campus, and then you know what? Typically everyone comes together, and so but it would be hard for me to start speculating on things just with me sort of first getting here. But I just do know this: all we can control is what we can control, and that's our effort. That's us, what we're doing as a football program and as football coaches.
Stephen?
Matt, clearly in recruiting at Temple in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, you had a lot of inroads there. How do you turn that around? In Texas, very highly competitive market area to recruit. How do you get your foot in there, and how do you do it so quickly?
So you're saying to me, coming from Pennsylvania, how do I do it here? Yeah. Yeah, and it's been fantastic to me with some of the coaches already reaching out to me. I think there's a couple things I've learned in the last couple days. Number one, a lot of kids want to come to Baylor. Okay, I mean the brand itself. There's kids reaching out to us. There's kids that were thinking about coming, and they've just been waiting to see. They want to play with these guys, and they want to play at Baylor. Number two, one of the reasons why I came was Texas high school football coaches love football. And if you're a guy that's about ball, I mean, I'm not a glad handling, car salesman guy. I'm a football guy. And so guys that I know and trust in the state assured me, they said, Matt, coaches are going to love you. Just be you. And then the third thing is we'll have some guys on the staff with Texas ties. We'll have some guys on my staff at Temple had Texas ties. So we'll make sure that we have that tie. But at the end of the day, to me, recruiting is about making the proper evaluations, taking the right kids, and it's about building tremendous relationships. And to me, that's about who you are as a person, and that's what the guys in Texas have assured me so far when I came here.
Bill Whitaker, Waco Tribune Herald.
Yeah, piggybacking on Bryce Cherry's comment. Coach, any kind of Charlie Strong rules that you'll be having for the players? Coach Charlie Strong, are there any kind of rules that you will have in terms of discipline?
And I don't know that I know Coach Strong's rules, so I'd probably be speaking out of turn. I think most of my rules with my kids have been pretty fair. At the end of the day, what I want is I want my kids to be the best men that they can be. I want them to be kind to other people. I don't tolerate people being disrespectful or bullyish to other people. But at the end of the day, each situation is different to me. And so I think there's some non-negotiable things that you can't do. You can't hurt women. You can't hurt people that are less fortunate than you. I mean, you can't bully other people. But that was kind of the way I handled it at Temple. So I'll handle it the same way. I think the biggest thing though is starting to really invest in these guys' lives, because these guys are great kids who are doing everything right. So like these kids deserve to have a chance. To have someone to stand up for them. And so what I will say is this: the reason why I say, like, hey, I had other opportunities is not about me. But I want to stand up for those players and say, like, you know what? Don't believe everything. These guys are guys that are doing it right. They're going to a bowl game, by the way, despite, some turbulence, in terms of what people are saying. And Katie Cannon promised me that they're going to win the bowl game. So here we go. So.
Are there any more questions from the media? John?
Matt, will you bring in a whole new staff, or will you consider coaches from the current staff?
Will I be bringing just my coaches or the coach? I have not even, I just really just got here. I just kind of told everybody, hey, I don't really know much about staff yet. I mean, so I'm just going to try to go through, everything I do in my mind is a process, right? So there's coaches on my staff. I think they're all great. There's some that might be a better fit. I want to meet the coaches here. And then there's coaches here with Texas ties in the state of Texas, high school coaches, college coaches. And I'll just want to make a very deliberate decision. Much like this decision I made to come here, I'll meet with people, and I'll hire the people I think I'm called to hire.
Suzanne, you get the last question.
Oh, yay. Matt, can you tell us when Baylor contacted you and did you speak to Mack Rhodes in New York, or where did y'all meet?
I'd defer that question to him. I don't want to get on his wrong side on the first day, so.
I don't remember. Matt and my relationship goes back just when I was at Houston and he was at Temple, and just in the same conference, and seeing each other at conference meetings, and just always had great respect for him. And I texted him after they beat Navy. I'm sorry, Dr. Garland, but after they beat Navy, and just told him congratulations. And he's just and you can tell why. He's just a guy that I just had great respect for as first and foremost a person, but also as a football coach. And I think it was 30 minutes into the interview where in my gut, in my heart, in my mind, this is our guy.